Welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast with Scott Mackenzie. Scott is a passionate industry professional dedicated to transferring cutting-edge, industry-focused innovations and trends while highlighting the men and women who keep the world moving. So put on your hard hat, grab your work boots, and let's go.
All right, once again, welcome to Industrial Talk, you industrial gladiator. We celebrate you on this particular platform because you deserve it. Because you're bold, brave, you dare greatly, you innovate, you're always collaborating, you're saying, hey, I want to solve problems. That's why we celebrate you. That's why we want to amplify your message each and every day. And all the individuals that have been on the platform, kudos to you. All right, again, on my journey, as I continue to say, hey, we need to, in industry, amplify more voices, celebrate more voices, and bring as much information as possible. Arthur Field, he's the voice behind Machine Shop Tech Talk. And I'm always, just as you know, I'm geeking out. I've got so many other conversations out there, and I want to understand why these influencers, these podcasters are putting themselves out there, telling the story so that we collectively, including you, inspire the next generation of industrial leaders. That's what we're all about. Let's get cracking with the conversation. Yeah, it's a must. I've been on this kick. It sort of hit me upside the head. It made me even uglier, which is easy. It's not that's a low bar. But the reality is, one, we have all this wonderful economic things going on out there in industry. We want to bring more, manufacturing back. We want to be able to sort of say, hey, it is time. It is now. And let's just sort of amplify that technology, that solution, that voice. It's all right now. And you know what I always get down to? Just get right down to it. In the trenches, right here, you're going to experience it. People. Oh, this is great. All of this is wonderful. And I'm having conversation after conversation after conversation. You know what the constant theme with many of these, outside of the fact that technology's outstanding and the companies are incredible, it's just people. Where do we find it? How do we continue to sort of push forward a business that is resilient? That means I need people. I can only do so much automation, but I still need people. I still need that team of individuals that are rowing in the same direction. So I've got to focus on culture within the organization, meet the people where they're at, and be able to get just rowing in the same direction and being able to do it with passion and zeal. So that's one thing. But then how do I take that culture, take that energy, and be able to inspire young professionals now? Not now. We need to be able to plant those seeds. And I'm talking about going back to all the way to elementary school. How do we inspire those young professionals to look at industry as a career, a profession, something to be really geeky about? That's excitement. And I'm here to task and challenge you, just like Arthur, just like all the other individual voices that are out on Industrial Talk, challenge you to do the same. If we don't have the people. We need people. And we need people to say, yeah, this is a career for me, because you know as well as I do, and if you've been listening to Industrial Talk, you know that the technology is blistering fast. Solutions are coming at you fast and furious, and we still need people. We need to make that investment. We need to do that. That's my soapbox. Yeah. Arthur Field, he's right on us up. He's right next to me. If you could see it when we have this conversation, he's right there. That's what drives people like Arthur and others to continue to carry that flag, that passion, because it's exciting out there. As you could tell, I geek out on it, and trust me, you need to. Let's get on with the conversation. So Arthur came through, a friend of mine. Also, Jim Mayer, he has a podcast. It's manufacturing. It's incredible. He has an interview out on Industrial Talk, and you know what? It was incredible. Of course it was incredible. Everybody in industry is incredible. I just love industry. But Arthur came through, had a conversation. He's doing absolutely some incredible heavy lifting to keep that industry, CNC, the machine shop, moving forward and saying, this is where it's at. You'll see his passion. It's I don't know. It's infectious. That's what I always look at. All right, let's get on with the conversation. Here is Arthur. Arthur, welcome to Industrial Talk. How are you doing today?
Scott. Good to see you, Scott, man. I'm doing good, buddy. Good.
It's been 20 minutes since we last spoke.
I wondered if we were going to mention that. Yeah,
I just had you over. It's a podcast.
I just had you over on Machine Shop Tech Talk, so I get to sit down with you 2 hours back to back. I'm feeling a little spoiled. I'm not going to lie, buddy.
Yeah, I changed my shirt and my hat. I don't look the same.
Oh, I changed nothing. I sat in the chair answering emails.
Yeah, it's funny. I did a podcast with Chris Lukey, and we were having power problems, and so so we're talking, power go out, freeze up, comes back, try it again. We did that 4 times, and then finally I just said, "Uncle, I'll give up," and we came back the next day. I'm wearing a different shirt, and then it was appalling. Then I saw it. No, Scott, you don't even look the same. I thought, I blew it. So now I'm changing things up.
Hey, doing it consciously. I mean, if you're going to have troubles, though, Chris Lukey's a great guy to have troubles with because he is such an understanding dude. He's got such a big heart. He's he's a stellar human.
Yeah. Good podcast. But manufacturing happy hour.
That is so cool. I wish I was in the US more because like when it's actually going on, because those look like a hoot. I went to at IMTS actually. He did a rock night, a 90s night, and I was like, okay, well that's my thing. So I'm going, and that was wild. He throws on a great event.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, there he is, man. Yeah. Giving Chris a little bit of a plug.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Good people. Good people. It's hard not to, man. Come on.
Yeah, the community's really tight, very small when it comes to people that like to talk about industry. So, and that's why you're on. But give us a little background on who Arthur is. Just 411.
Let's do like the 30,000 foot view or something, real quick. So I've been in manufacturing 25 years. Started in an assembly plant. Realized that sucked. Girlfriend got pregnant, so I went into machining, and I worked through machining. I did programming. I got my journeyman's ticket. I did manufacturing engineering, and then after 12 years as a machinist, the economy kind of took a bit of a dive in 2015-ish, and so I jumped over to distributor sales. Let me tell you, getting into sales in a down market, wow, that was an experience. It took 2 years for the market to recover, and it took me 4 years to make more than I was as a machinist. It was really hard. But I was there 8.5 years doing direct sales, right? So going from working on the shop floor, being directly working with one company, to now I was a territory manager working in sales at a distributor. So now I was supporting 150 local companies, going in, sharing my brain with them to help them save money. And now I travel the world with MTDCNC, and I get to go talk to these stellar human beings, dude, that I wish, I always joke with them because it's just these high level shops that really respect all the way from the top down, that have a clear vision. Like these are the ones that if we could just duplicate their story, we would not be having the recession in manufacturing that we're experiencing right now in North America, you know. Okay. But I joke with them because I'm like, if I would have found these places, I wouldn't have left. I probably would have found a way to stay on the freaking shop floor, dude. That's how well these places are run. They're just, and it's really cool people that love what they do, and that lights me up.
Yeah, and that's funny that you mentioned that, because I've been exposed to my brother-in-law's had a couple of CNC shops, and it would always happen when we'd have family gathering. We go there, and I'd say, "Hey, can you go to your shop?" And they say, "Yeah, come on." And then one of my brother-in-laws would just geek out on what they were making, just geek, just you're slipping in geekness, and they just love it to no end, and it's so fun to watch and listen to them just have a ball doing what they're doing and programming and whatever. It's great. Hey, you mentioned MT what is it?
MTDCNC. So they're based out of the UK.
What?
So originally, when Paul started the company in, what was it, 2007, it was Machine Tools Direct. So it started because there just wasn't a lot of good information out there, like machine tools that could make a difference for British manufacturing. There was just no good information, so people didn't know about them. So people were struggling, and Paul was like, "Man, if you knew about this machine, like, you wouldn't have these issues. You're using a hammer to put a screw in, right? That kind of situation." So that's how we started it. When Tony Gunn brought it to North America, we were like, no, it's making the difference, because awareness, when you've got a problem or a goal, awareness makes all of the difference. And so we cover the stories that make a difference for manufacturing.
See, that's a great segue into our conversation. Now, what was the driver, that passion? They just said, "Hey, I got a solution for you. You have a problem. I have a solution. Here it is," and be able to communicate that, right? Is that, I mean, sometimes we do a good job at communicating. We just,
Which, okay, look, if you're finding this conversation after before you found the conversation where I had Scott on my side, we give you ways to get in action and ways to speak up, because your voice matters more than mine, I promise. But it's giving these really technical people, look, because I can take my own story as a machinist. When I was on the shop floor, I was like, "Look, man, look at these numbers. You should know why this set of numbers is better and why I deserve the money." That was it. I was very cut and dry. The reality is the people that move the money, that control the money, that run the companies, are visionaries that run on stories, and they don't always get it. So it's about covering these successful companies that have faced a problem, have done the hard thing. They've chosen to trust somebody. They've been successful, and now they're bragging about it. They're like, "Look, guys, like, we had this problem, and then we met." I don't want to plug anyone specifically because we've got so many clients, but we met this. Yeah, we met Acme Solutions, and oh my God, dude, it's been night and day. And then we asked stuff like, "Well, what was it? Like, how did you even find them? How did you even know it was the right solution?" Well, this, that, and this. And we talk about it to help them share, what made it the right solution, so that hopefully the people out there that are just a little less brave will identify with that story and be like, "Okay, they trusted them. They had good success. We're going to trust them." Right.
There are two things that I want to, there's two things that I want to sort of pull on. One, trust. Is such an important component to any relationship, trust. And I find shops and in industry in general, manufacturing in general, that I trust, but do I have the bandwidth to try to figure out how to solve this challenge, sit down and get into the nitty gritty of being able to say, "Okay, if we do this, that, and the other thing." I just find people they're too busy, and I don't trust anybody, and I'm wasting too much time, energy, and effort, and therefore I just like, whatever.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, right? That's why I chose to go over to MTDCNC about a year ago, because I was doing it on my own at a distributor. I was like, "Guys, like, we need video to help break down these barriers for these shops." I hate shops closing their doors, dude. Like, it breaks my heart. This is someone that started something and they had to give up on their dream because I believe anyway, they just didn't realize what was possible. They were so stuck in running the business, doing the day-to-day busy, keeping it floating, and we're so worried about, I've been there. I've been like 2008, I was on the shop floor and I was running a shop and I had like 27 guys under me at the time. And I had to be the one, we went on to work share and the contract stopped coming in. There was a major dip. And I know how hard that is and how it can become so all consuming because you feel like such a failure letting these guys down in those times. So I get how business owners and leaders get so sucked into it and so like tunnel visioned that they don't have the time to look for the tech. So that's the whole mission with MTD, is creating these videos, these resources where you can go to get these little snapshot updates. And it's not going to give you everything. It's not like we do 2-hour-long interviews on how to install a new machine tool or something.
Right.
But we're showing you people that you can trust to take that chance, and that you can trust that they're going to stay up to date on all of it because you don't have the time. You're too busy. Right.
Yeah. See,
that's the two things.
I like the fact that you're identifying people that they can trust. That takes away a huge worry on my part. And then 2, I can wet my whistle and say, yeah, I have there. Oh, it's how I cook. Yeah. I'll go out to YouTube. I did a pork belly, and then of course I said the best pork belly, and I did it, and it was on YouTube, and it showed me.
Yeah, and I bet you it turned out pretty good.
Wow, it was delicious. But I said, yeah, there you go. But the same thing within the world of what you do in the world of manufacturing. It's all available, and come on, it's not that expensive.
No, the expensive thing drives me nuts because it's got nothing to do with the money, because the ROI. Like, we had one client, they're like, dude, we were worried in the beginning back in 2021 when we started, because it was a chance, it was a risk, right? They were flat. They're like, but within 2 years, we doubled our sales from 4 million to 8 million.
Nothing wrong with that. And why? Why did they double it?
Well, they spent 50 grand a year. So what's that? 100 grand investment to get $4 million in sale. Then that's per year, right? That's not total sales. So they were doing 4 million a year average. And after 2 years, they were up to over 8 million a year.
Yeah.
For a 50 grand per year investment.
Yeah. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad at all. But but it's always, you get sort of dialed in on that. Do I, can I, will I? People, you just gotta.
Yeah, my guys don't watch video. Bullshit. You're watching video possibly right now or listening to us. You're not an exception. Most of the people in the workforce, 44 and under, are going to video first.
If I'm going to make a decision, and if I'm going to make a decision, I'm going to buy something, what do? Yeah, I find a video. Yep. I find a video on anything.
Yep.
Anything.
It's just anything. Dude, I bought a 3D printer. I spent probably too long doing research, because I like to do way too much research before I bite the bullet and do something. I ended up on a Bamboo. Was it the best? I don't know, but they had the most videos and the most resources, and I was able to train myself up on what a good 3D printer is, what a bad 3D printer is, the headaches that can happen. And I really like their all-inclusive ecosystem. I don't have to do all this little piecemeal bullshit.
Yeah. Okay. So as you can tell, listeners, we're sort of dancing around the fact that we are both very passionate about getting your message out, amplifying that message, getting the attention that you need, because you're that important. Whoever's listening out here, you are important. And that's why we celebrate you on these platforms, just because you are very needed within the economy and whatever you do. And we're here to tell you, and that's why Arthur's on. He does a podcast. He does videos. And we're going to sort of dive into why that's important, why you need to. And this is sort of a continuation of my industrial podcast series, where I'm highlighting other voices, just because I want to hear why. And you know what the reason why I want to hear your voice, and that's why I talk to Chris or Jim or Nikki or any of those other ones that have a pretty decent following, is that I'm not alone in my struggle.
Oh, dude, I feel you on that. But it is. And look, guys, Scott's not blowing smoke. Yeah. If you're listening to this, you need to understand that you're in a group of less than 10% of human beings that actually give a shit about getting better and doing better every day. Less than 10%.
Yuck. That's awful. Come on. It's awful. Well, that's not
well, hey, dude, that's 800 million people. Okay, we got it. What, 8 billion? So that's what, 800 million. If I can do percent, that's still a lot of human beings.
It's a lot,
but it's a very small percentage.
It is. It is. Yeah, and you know, it's interesting. When you started doing videos, you started out doing videos, and for whatever reason, you said, "Hey, Arthur, you got to do these videos, and you got to go down that road, and you got to start communicating." Take us through that journey about why you wanted to do that, and then sort of dovetail into, "Hey, I can do podcasts too."
Yeah. So I started doing videos because I came into my direct sales role, right, as at the distributor, and I think I mentioned is I hate a shop closing its doors, and so I realized that I could only talk to so many shop owners in a day. My physical body could only get into front of so many people, and let's be real, it was 8 on a good day. I live in Vancouver. Traffic is terrible and our congestion is ridiculous. So 8 was a good day. That means I was less than an hour in each location. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I realized really quick that video was the only way I was going to get to reach more people. And I know I was just talking about 10% of people give a shit about getting better. It's about that for shop owners. Probably around 5% in my lived experience, my anecdotal experience, but it's less than 5% that care about improving their shop. The rest of them just want to run it till the wheels fall off because they're hoping to retire before that happens.
Wow, that's a statement. I didn't know that. Wow. Yeah, but you touch upon compounding. Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's that physical element. I'm driving in the car. I got to go to that shop. I'm going to be talking to them. I'm going to sit there and drink their coffee and then buzz on out, next journey, whatever it is. And you can only do so many in a. Yeah, no, it's compounding. Yeah. You got to compound.
Yeah, and that's it. It's the compounding interest of doing it. On top of that, it was part of my goal to get better and more comfortable talking to people because there were times when I was paired with the right human and I was able to say what I had to say. And they're like, dude, I am so glad you said that. Like, that has made a profound impact on me. You're going to save me money, or I'm going to whatever. And I was like, dude, I wish I was brave enough to speak up more. So I did two things. The video thing was part of it. And the other thing is I taught Red Cross first aid on weekends for 3 years straight, which is the length that your license is valid. I taught every weekend almost for 3 years, because I wanted to get better in front of groups of strangers. And so every weekend I would have 15 to 30 strangers from 14 to 87 that I had never met before, that I had to teach and help them learn something they had never done before. So it was part of that. It was part of that because I wanted to be able to have conversations like this. I knew that they would make a difference, and I was terrified.
You know, and that's so, that's inspiring, Arthur. That's true. You know, when we all start, we're not sitting there going, and we're professional speakers and we're professional entertainers, and that doesn't exist. That exists on TV, but it doesn't exist in industry by any stretch of the imagination. And if you're thinking that 5%, can you imagine the voices that exist out there just are trying to push this rope uphill to say, you guys are very valuable. You can do better. You can do more. You just gotta trust us. Again, back to trust.
It almost everything, dude. Like, you're listening to a guy that I got into machining because I hated people, and my goal was to never talk to another human again. Go to work, run my machine, come home, play video games, rinse, repeat. That was my vision for my life. And my son, because my son was in the womb at the time when I got into machining. But that was my vision. Come home to my family, a little bit of video games. That was it. I never wanted to talk to I could have not talked to anyone, and I would have been fine. But it was, like you said, that small group of people that are willing or can see that there's something better, that it's worthwhile, right? Like, I butted my heads with so many shop owners when I was working for them on the shop floor. And it was like, well, I'm going to go talk to enough guys. I'm going to find the guys that give a shit about their company, that actually want to invest in their people, in their equipment, in their processes.
It's energizing. It's sort of an interesting thing. It's like, oh, that was a good conversation. I like that, man. That was inspiring. And then you realize that there's a lot of great people out there telling a great story and doing some great stuff. And, I always say I'm living my Discovery Channel dream because I get to like, really, you do that?
Yeah.
And if he's listening out there, which I doubt it, but I'm going to make a plug. If Elon Musk is listening, I want you to be on the show because I am a geek about SpaceX. I just am.
Ooh, that would be a hell of a conversation, man.
Oh, gosh, I wouldn't know how to end it.
Well,
I wouldn't know.
Yeah. So the key that I read about him is you've got to be able to ask interesting questions.
Yeah.
Because he's tired of the same old reporter interview bullshit. I follow him on Twitter. I say what you will about some of his choices, but dude is always pushing for that next thing that he sees is important, and he is always moving towards it. Always.
Have you watched the Starship launches?
I've watched a couple of the landings. I don't sit down to watch stuff very often.
Oh, it's like, yes, go. And you know what's interesting about SpaceX? Everybody's sort of rowing in the same direction. So they have this massive amount of people just sort of watching the launch, right? And they're all just, all just geeking about this thing. And Eric just it's firing off, and there's like, yeah. And it's always inspiring to go, how do you create that culture? You have to have that culture. You have to be able to just pursue excellence because you're doing something that nobody's doing. Nobody. You're creating something new. That little valve.
Yeah. Well, and you've got to have people around you that are lit up by that, literally. Like, from what I understand, his hiring practice is extremely thorough to filter for that culture.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I know people that have been hired on in different capacities. And they just, obviously they don't share anything except for, their personal experience. And they're like, dude, it's not good or bad, but it's just most thorough interview. And they really felt like when they made it through that they finally found their people that they wanted to work with.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, that's huge.
That's
huge.
massive. Monumental. But, that's so cool.
Well, and when you're talking about like the people out there with their experience, that's how I transitioned into podcasting as well, is because I was like, man, if I know what I know I don't know a ton of stuff. So I want to reach out and I want to get connected to, I think Sandvik Cormont was one of the first companies. I was still at the distributor, and they started letting me interview their application engineers. And I would just literally be like, okay, look, here's the problem. How would you solve it? And we would go through the conversation.
Wow. Yeah, and everybody's interesting if you can ask good questions. Everybody's interesting, and it's true.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, 100%. I always find myself, and I have more, but I always look at these three legs of the stool. Maybe it's not so stable, but it's three legs nonetheless. Education, got to educate, especially now. Everything is moving so fast. So if you're not committed to education, you're being left behind. You're missing out on really incredible things, but just educate. And the next one is collaborate. You don't have all the answers. Find people who have answers. Find people who are ever so passionate about solving your challenges. So you educate, collaborate, and then you cannot avoid innovating. You can't just say, this is the way we've always done it. You have to innovate, and you got to find time doing that. It's a non-negotiable.
Yeah. Well, innovating specifically is the leg of the stool, going with your metaphor. That's been the biggest thing for me, has been remembering to have time in my life where I have like zero stimulation, meaning I don't have a phone in my hand. I don't have something on the TV. I don't have music on. I don't have a book in my hands. Nothing. I'm just chilling. Maybe I'm sitting in the backyard. Maybe I'm sitting in the office. Maybe I'm driving down the road with the music off and listening to the road noise. Maybe I'm in the shower, whatever. Just something where it's just me, my brain, and existing. No conversation. And oh my God. When I remember, it's freaking fantastic, dude. Because I'll go from feeling overwhelmed and like I'm drowning to, oh wait, what if I did this? I've been doing 3D part design, right? And when I'm designing, I'll just sit there. I'll put everything down. I'll leave my phone down, and I'll just sit back, and I'll just like breathe. And then, sometimes it's 2 minutes, sometimes it's 20 minutes. And then I'm like, I got it. But if I would have picked up my phone, I probably would have changed projects and left.
Yeah, see, that's brilliant, because I'll do the same thing where my wife and kids, they'll know that some fire's burning in my head, and I'm just thinking, and if I was rash and I just jump to go over this way and I'll just do it, then I make a mistake, and I don't like making mistakes. So I'd rather just sort of noodle on it for a little while and get the right
That's such a fun expression. Noodle on it. I like that.
Noodle on
it. It's been a while. Yeah. It's been a while since I heard that one. Noodle on it.
That's right. Yeah, noodle on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, before we depart, give us a parting shot of why manufacturers, specifically in the CNC world, why they have to put themselves out there, why they have to tell their story, and do it consistently. Don't back off. People just say one and done. I didn't get a thumbs up. When I posted it, I didn't get a thumbs up. Nobody's watching it. No.
Yeah.
Tell us why.
Even if it's once a week, okay? Look, just show up consistently. Work your way up to 3 times a week, which is really the sweet spot for time and energy. Anyway, look, industry talks about, like, machine shops talk about wanting people. They talk about wanting to attract more customers. They talk about wanting the best people, improve their culture. They want to be profitable. All of these other things, those all come by getting your voice out there. One, you show up and people can actually find you when it comes to the younger people, because that's what they do. They scroll video. That's a fact. But also through collaboration, people reach out to you because they know you exist. And like, oh, hey, I saw you were working on this thing. Like, I had another guest, Daryl Gradix, and he went from like 0 followers to like 8,000 followers in 12 months. And he's like, I made more connections in 12 months on LinkedIn that have advanced my career and my community than I did in the previous 25 years.
Yeah.
Because he simply got out of his fear. I had him on the podcast to talk about it, because I was like, dude, he had no social media. It's what's possible when you start sharing. No one can show up if you don't get out there.
Right. And so I send my family texts. So I'm on my distribution list. I send them a text, and this is from Gary V. And it's about committing to sort of the social platform and doing it. And it was like, he says, hey, here's the reality. Everybody starts at 0. So don't say that you're going to start at 100 or 500 or whatever. Everybody starts at 0. But I think the one that, and there's 19 values. Yeah. 19.
Yeah.
But the one is there's like, you do it, and the other one is patience. Because if you think you're going to be, lighting the world on fire because that's the wrong. You're there to tell your story and solve other people's challenges. That's what I think. Do it.
100%. And I love Gary V, but 2, I know we got to wrap up, but look,
it's okay.
There's a whole dark world of social media where they're not going to like, and they're not going to comment. And I know this because some of the best conversations I had when I was in distribution were with people that would come up and like, dude, you were posting about this chuck or about this thing. And oh my God, like that's exactly what I needed. And I'm like, oh, cool. And we have a great conversation. And I go back, there's no likes, there's no comments. They're not even following me on the platform, but they still saw my message. They still stopped me when I was walking through their shop, and they still thanked me, because you don't know who you're going to impact. We get conditioned to think that thousands of likes is a measure of success, and it's not.
It's not.
It's not.
Absolutely not.
You're going to impact lives, and you may not even know it.
That's a good parting shot. How do people get a hold of it? What's the name of your podcast?
Machine Shop
What's the
Tech
name?
Talk. Machine Shop Tech Talk.
All right. And what's the best way to get a hold of you?
LinkedIn.
Saying, hey, I want to get a hold of Arthur.
LinkedIn. You can search Arthur Field or Meet Arthur, MEETARTHUR, and I will come up. Or you search my name on screen as Arthur Field. I will come up all over your Google, my website, my YouTube, everything.
Fortunately for everybody out there, this is a must connect, and I will have all of his connections out on Industrial Talk. So fear not. Go out to Industrial Talk, click on those links. You will find Arthur. That's how I roll.
Perfect.
And his podcast. Everything.
This is so awesome, man. Thank you so much, Scott. This has been rad.
All right, listeners, we're going to wrap it up on the other side. We're going to have all the contact information for Arthur out on Industrial Talk. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
You're listening to the Industrial Talk Podcast Network.
Arthur Field. Don't put an S on the back of Field. It's Field. Arthur Field. His contact information, as you can tell, he's passionate. You need to subscribe to the Machine Shop Tech Talk podcast and keep current with all the information that he's firing out. It was great. All, and I mean everything. You just go out to Industrial Talk. You're saying, Scott, make it easy for me to connect with Arthur. And I'll say, yes, Industrial Talk, find Arthur, there it is, everything that you need, LinkedIn, and of course, his podcast, it's all out there. That's what I'm talking about. All right, you can tell I'm on fire about how we inspire the next gen. I'm asking you to join Industrial Talk to be able to be a part of that solution. We need to educate, we need to inspire, and it's all up to you. I'll make it easy. Contact me, industrialtalk.com. Be bold, be brave, dare greatly. Hang out with Arthur. You will change the world. We're going to have another great conversation shortly, so stay tuned.